by saying no to those people, you actually make the right decision because then when you get the right client, you can serve them, you're happy. Anytime my phone was ringing and it was a client and I didn't want to answer, I went, time to change. Time to change my avatar because I'm not serving them. I'm not looking forward to their calls. As soon as you start waking up like that, there's a self sabotage thing that happens, right? So if you serve the wrong person, you end up sabotaging your business, which ends up sabotaging your entire life. Painful thing that I've seen too many of my friends go through. I did that too when I started. I was just saying yes to everything. But then now, when you say no, you actually open up space for the right people who value you, who pay you on time, who are just the most amazing people.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of More Clients, Less Effort. My guest today is the amazing Johann Nogueira. Johann's a visionary entrepreneur, tech investor, and speaker specializing in scaling businesses through systems and technology. With a track record of working with national brands and global companies, he's founded multiple ventures, including Comet Suite, an AI-powered lead generation platform, and Business Authorities, a community for entrepreneurs. His journey began during his PhD at the University of Melbourne, where he discovered the power of leverage. Passionate about innovation, he teaches business owners how to compress time, create scalable assets, and build lasting legacies. His mission is to empower entrepreneurs to achieve freedom, impact, and long-term success. Johann, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mr. Tim. A pleasure to be here.
Mate, it was good to have you. We've known each other for
a decade.
I don't know, 10 years now, decade.
long time.
It has been a long time. And we first met through the Keep community back when you were a partner there. Yep. Mate, I want to know, firstly, I didn't realize you'd done a PhD. What's it in?
Secondary biofuels and climate change.
Okay.
Absolutely nothing to do with what we do.
I was not expecting you to say that.
Yeah.
Why that field of study? What was it about that you've gone, I'm super interested in this space and want to do a thesis on it?
So I did my honors at La Trobe and I did it in genetically modified canola. And so just as I finished and just graduated with first class honors, that was in November. In December, the Australian government banned GM canola. So I had this degree, which I
great
5 years doing, and then it became useless in Australia. And so I spoke to my professor and I said, hey, what are my options? And he said, well, you could go to Canada because they're 10 years ahead of us. Or you could do a PhD. I said, PhD, great. What do I do it in? And then he said, here's a couple of different options. And he said, biofuels is going to be a big future in Australia. So why don't you try that one? And then by the year 2050, that's going to be the biggest thing that we're going to be doing in our economy. So I said, all right, cool. Didn't realize how far 2050 was away when I did
it. And yeah, it's still a while away.
still a while away, exactly. And so while I was doing that, a year into it actually, and we're talking, it was a scholarship, it was 20 grand a year. I was working from 6 in the morning until midnight every night. Anyone who's done a PhD understands that. And one day, it was a Friday on 11 o'clock on Friday PM, and my boss, my supervisor, had just come in and he said, man, keep going. In 10 years, you're going to be at my level. Now, this man travels the world, speaks on stages, writes books. I was like, dude, I want to be like you. So 100% I'm in. And then I broke one of my dad's rules. My dad has 2 rules: never ask a woman her age and a man his wage. And I said, hey, how much money do you make? And then he told me the number and I was floored because I was like, oh my God, I'm going to wait 10 years to make that amount of money. I don't think I can. So I didn't sleep that week.
And I make $60,000. Hey, you're like, what?
It went far off.
You can do that driving Uber.
You're not far off. It was around that number. And so then I went into Google. So this is 2004. Went into Google, typed in make money online, ended up finding eBay and built an eBay business. Learn the power of leverage and systems, because you put up something on eBay, you wake up the next morning, because everybody's in America buying stuff. Wake up the next morning and boom, you've got all these orders, and I'd ship it out, be done in 10, 15 minutes. And I got the whole day to myself, but I was still doing the PhD. And so that's leveraging systems, having systems work for you. And that just gave me a big mind shift. I'm like, hang on a second. I made more money while I was sleeping than during the day I was making not that much, as I said, but when I was going to sleep, all these orders were coming through. So that's where I learned about that. Then I got into affiliate marketing, so became ClickBank affiliate and all that kind of stuff.
I love a ClickBank. I was back in the day. I did actually like. I was the same position, like late noughties. I mean, I'd been running a social media site for 10 years at that stage.
In the 90s, really?
Yeah, well, not 90s, sorry, noughties, right? So from 2000 to 2013, around that. But late noughties was taking the same sort of journey going. eBay had become a thing, right? Social media was becoming a thing. People were shifting online, and I was still working with a day job in IT project management at that stage. But I remember in the 90s, we would take the yellow pages. People would go, "Oh, it's really uncomfortable watching this massive big CRT monitor," and then we just reach onto the desk and take the yellow pages and put it under the monitor, and they go, "Oh, that's much better." Right. And all that advertising spend in the yellow pages was just turning into sort of the other end of the keyboard to go and find the stuff that you did. We did and this is I know this, I'm going to preface this for the conversation. I know it's going to come a bit later. We did an auto blogging thing with ClickBank, right? But done a bunch of research into kind of key niches around saying, well, how do we blog content and then sort of use that from an SEO perspective to optimize it to then have affiliate
AdSense
affiliate
revenue.
clicks. I think we built like 80 odd websites with a mate of mine to see if we could get this to work. But the content it was creating was crap. There was no way that anyone was going to read this stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, but sort of like interesting times though, eBay and stuff. And there is still money to be made in those spaces, isn't there?
The eBay model, the medium's just changed. It's the same on Amazon now. So what I was doing on eBay, you can do on Amazon right now. One of my friends, he was a mortgage broker. Now he's full-time Amazon, and he's living what I spoke just now. He
Mm.
wakes up and then he just checks his Amazon orders. He goes to the Chinese website, orders the stock, and then he goes, the boat's coming to America and dropping it off at the FBA, fulfillment by Amazon warehouse. And then he's out playing golf and stuff like that. And now he's like, "Hey, you want to come play golf? You want to go jet skiing? You want to go?" I'm like, "Dude."
I've got a company to run. What happened? Where did I go wrong?
Exactly. Actually, it was my wife who taught me more about systemization. So when we started dating, now this is 12 years ago, she used to rock up to my house, and at this point in time, all my people used to work in my house, and so there'd be like 10 people working in my house, and she'd come over on a Monday afternoon, and go, "Hey, you want to go for a drive down the Great Ocean Road?" I'm like, "Babe, I'm working." And she'll come back on Tuesday. She's like, "Hey, with a picnic basket, you want to go for a picnic?" I'm like, "I thought you were a business owner. Like, what is going on?" She goes, "I am. I have people and systems working, so I can go and do what I got to do." I'm like, "Damn it, I'm self-employed." Having that realization, then
I
going,
have a job.
"Yep, yep, I made a job for myself." And then
Tell me about their systems, because I mean it's a pretty important transition I think that people need to make in their business journey at some point, right? Everyone's been at the stage where they're getting started and they're wearing all the hats and doing all the things and managing all the people, and there's still the sort of bottleneck for everything that everyone has to come through. What was it about systems that you go on, holy shit, this is light bulb moment for me, and this is the place to start?
the first system that everybody needs to build is once you're, because you at the start, you've created a business, it's your passion, you're out there, you're the best salesman in the business. You have to be. What happens when you make sales? Then you need delivery. So depending on what type of business it is, sometimes it's you, but most of the times you can outsource that. So first system is a documentation system where you get exactly what's needed to be done and deliver that to the deliverer who's going to build it. And then you need to hand it back to the client and then sign off and go, "Thank you so much," and give you money in return for doing the service, right? And then every time I would get money from a client, I would say, "Wow, I'm going to hire somebody else." And so this is what 2008. I started my agency, and so it's like, "Ooh, cool! Got another." We were selling websites for 5 grand. Got another website. I can hire another person. Got another website. Hire another person. Got another website. I had 100 staff. So, and it sounds awesome, but basically it was just 10 teams of 10. And then the next system that I built was, hang on, we are really good at building stuff. But I was the only one generating business in the company. So the next system that I needed was, I need clients coming through. So client acquisition. So I went through to all the other agencies in Melbourne and said, "Hey, we're really great at building websites. I can build websites better than you can, faster, cheaper than you. Here's a free website. Test us out." And so then these agencies went from you're a competitor to we can white label you and you're gonna do it at this fixed cost. Because with agencies, one of the biggest thing is scope creep, right? Fixed
Mm.
cost, we'll get it done on time, every time. And so we had the system there for delivery. So now every morning, these guys would send us new projects and they'd follow our system and give us all the documentation. We would then build it, and then my project manager would hand it back. Now I'm free from the business. Leads are coming in, payments are getting made. This team is building it, and the team is delivering it. I'm now out of the business. And now this is a self perpetuating thing. And all I had to do was go and talk to more agencies, which meant getting more people in the top of the pipeline. And then if I needed, I could get more team members to deliver. So that was pretty much the fulfillment.
So in your view, you think build operational systems to deliver the product first before then going into systemizing the acquisition of customers.
100%. Because what happens when you get too many customers? And we've experienced this with one of our companies 4 years ago. We went from having 50 clients in 6 months to 100 new clients in a week, to 200 clients in a week in the week after. And by the end of the month, in 1 month, we onboarded 500 clients. So we experienced what it's like to get an influx of so many clients where literally we were working 24 hours a day and everything's about to fall off. Like we were not prepared for that. So you have to build your operational systems, your delivery mechanisms, and your client acquisition at a sort of even rate. Because if one or the other, if you can't deliver enough, then your clients are going to start getting pissed off, which means your credibility is going to go low. Or if you're getting too many clients in and you can't deliver, then they start getting upset because you're taking too long to deliver. Yeah,
I want to drill down into something you've just picked up on there, because I was on a call literally an hour ago with a new group of marketers. I think marketers, as much as anyone else, suffer from this thing. And I'm gone. I didn't know any of them in the room, but it was the same thing as you were looking and saying, this is a room full of people that could potentially collaborate. And I thought, well, I'm going to ask the question, right? It's not just who you what your name is and what your company delivers.
yep,
It's like, who does it deliver to? Where is your sweet spot in terms of deliver to? And so I thought, okay, well, let's ask who works with micro businesses and startups. And a couple of hands went up and I said, who works with established businesses but with small teams? So we're talking sort of 1 to 3, 1 to 5 sort of number. And the same hands went up. And what about medium businesses that sort of maybe established 7 figures, multiple years in business, or high sixes into sort of 7 figures? And then who's working with kind of really 8 figures and above, and who's working with sort of enterprises and big corporates kind of thing? Same hands go up. And I'm like, why are these same hands going up for a micro business as well as a Cola or a Nike, right? Surely you've worked it out by this point that you probably shouldn't be trying to serve everybody. What are your thoughts on that?
so the biggest lesson I learned, this is around 2011. We're old guys, so we can talk about stuff in decades and stuff, right? So I used to build mobile apps for restaurants. So we were charging restaurants $3,000 for a mobile app. And then I met this guy who said, "Hey, can your technology do this, this, this?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "What about this, this, this?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "Cool. Can we put that into a building?" I went, "Huh?" He goes, "Can you put it into a building?" I'm like, "Yeah, I don't see why not." So we went from a $3,000 to restaurants to $50,000 a year for buildings. And then on the back end of that, we were doing 300 to 500 grand. And it's just all we changed. All the technology was the same. The delivery was the same. Everything was the same. The only thing that was different was the target market. So understanding your target market, understanding where you want to go is who you want to serve is such a massive thing. I was talking to a guy yesterday. He's raising a couple $1 million. He's building a platform, all this kind of stuff. I said, "Who are you targeting?" He said, "I'm targeting digital agencies." I was like, "Okay, what's your price point?" He goes, "Oh, about $30 to $40." I go, "What's your end goal?" He goes, "Well, I want to turn it into 10 million a year." I go, "Well, that's a lot of digital agencies."
It's like,
And
that's like, how many is that?
yeah, that's
Thousand,
exactly,
two and a
exactly.
half thousand.
But in what the technology that you're creating, can it do A, B, C, D? He goes, "Yes." I go, "What about all these other things?" He goes, "Yes." I go, "Well, what about manufacturing companies?" And he's in the US. And he's like, "Yeah, I could do that easy." I'm like, "Okay." And did some quick little research for him. I showed it to him. I go, "Look, manufacturing companies for their software, this software that he does, It's about 90 to $100,000. You want to get to 10 million. How many of those do you need per month on this plan? And he goes, "Ah, you just see this big, great. Now I only have to serve 10% of those people in order to get the same outcome. Massive, massive difference."
And even 10% of most markets is pretty a lot, significant. I think it is one of those things that as business owners, and particularly as we're sort of emerging in the market, we almost get afraid to cut people out, to say, "Oh my god, but that's money, and I need it to put food on the table," right? But by the same token, the more specific you are, the more likely you are to find a client who then sits up and says, "Oh, you mean this is for me?"
Yep.
Right? Because I'm an XYZ, and almost plays into the language that they speak about themselves, which is
Yep.
like, as marketers, like one of the things that everyone's like a cannon, like enter the conversation in your customer's mind. But we do quite often forget about that, thinking that maybe I'm gonna miss out on some money if someone comes to me.
Yep. 100%. We've all been through that. And we've all been through, we don't know where end of the month's coming. You got to pay your people, right? Let alone yourselves. Like you always end up paying yourself last when you start a business. But by saying no to those people, you actually make the right decision because then when you get the right client, you can serve them, you're happy. Anytime my phone was ringing and it was a client and I didn't want to answer, I went, time to change. Time to change my avatar because I'm not serving them. I'm not looking forward to their calls. As soon as you start waking up like that, there's a self sabotage thing that happens, right? So if you serve the wrong person, you end up sabotaging your business, which ends up sabotaging your entire life. Painful thing that I've seen too many of my friends go through. I did that too when I started. I was just saying yes to everything. But then now, when you say no, you actually open up space for the right people who value you, who pay you on time, who are just the most amazing people. They work for 5, 10 people. Those are the people who you want to work with. And so when you set boundaries, those are the people who come.
Yeah, it's also, I think, you do better work and more profitable work. So rather than just saying yes to everybody, that you can do the thing, but maybe not to the best of your ability and not to necessarily the outcomes that they're looking for. That sometimes you then, as a result of that, deliver a mediocre result. They're okay with it. They paid their money, but they're not going to go, "Oh, God, that was the best experience ever." And you're sitting there going, "Oh, fuck, cost overruns."
Yep.
I kind of resent the client because it was a bit of it was a bit of shit.
Yep.
Could have done better on that one.
And
But it
that
is that thing. Is that if we have the courage to really go down and say, who is my thing, my product, my service best suited for? Where can I make a life-changing transformation for my customer? And who is that customer that I make that life-changing transformation for? And focus on them. Unless you're dealing with one-legged dwarven astronauts and you're selling gravity rehabilitation, which is an incredibly small niche, let me tell you. You're
that's it.
probably okay. You're going to find people. I have a photo on my desktop, and it is a chicken wearing a tutu,
Okay.
just to remind me there is a niche for everything.
That's hilarious.
Right? There's probably a lot of chicken owners out there that want their chickens to wear tutus,
Yep. Yep.
right? And you're going to make that person incredibly happy.
You're joking about this. My wife buys outfits for my Staffy, and I'm like, "What are you doing? He does not look tough wearing a little bee costume. What do you mean you got him a bee costume? Got a freaking bee."
I can only imagine, mate. You've become in the last couple of years. You've become a massive fan of AI and how that's transforming things. Share with me some of the ways that you're using AI, firstly, to make you a better entrepreneur.
So I have great conversations with AI. I've never, I cannot, one, I wake up in the morning and just am so grateful that I'm alive during this time in our time period because we get access to the super, super computer, a hive mind, every bit of knowledge that's ever existed in the palm of my hand, right? Never has this ever existed. Now, there's a big divide between people who will take that technology and use it for their advantage, and then there's other people who will sit there and make songs and stuff using AI. That's fine. Whatever floats your boat, right? But we all had access to YouTube 10, 15 years ago. what did people do? They went in there and they watched cat videos, they watched comedy, whereas there was a portion of the population who went on there and educated themselves with the latest and greatest. In my business, what used to take us 6 months to do, we could now do in 4 days with AI. With the advancements in AI that's happened in the last week, we can do what takes us 4 days in 30 minutes. So we're doing
Mm,
13 minutes of, we're doing 6 months of work in 30 minutes. I always wished I could live 1,000 lifetimes. Now I get to because we are compressing time. We built a brand new company 6 weeks ago, and it has already done more in revenue than some of my other businesses would do in a year because of, and it was all built by AI, right?
mm.
Literally sitting down and talking to AI and just getting the brand done, getting the structures done, getting the offer done, getting the videos done, getting the ads created, getting the email campaigns, getting everything done. It's all done with AI. You end up with the document which you just got to sit down and implement. And now even AI can implement it for you, which is just a whole nother thing. AI is here, it's changing our lives, our personalization, hyper personalization. We've all got access to this technology. Artificial intelligence is having such good conversations with our clients. I didn't even know that it was AI talking because I got an email back from one of our support staff. And I said to my business partner, I'm like, man, this is so well written. This is amazing. Which one of our staff wrote this? Because I really want to give them a bonus. Because that's the AI. Okay. Well, we don't have to give
Okay,
that
well,
one a
that's
bonus.
fantastic. Keep my money.
And that's another thing. So, sales team. So, our sales team has gone down from 12 to 2. Why? Because the AI is closing more deals than the sales team. When we implemented this thing, the sales team was freaking out because they're watching our sales in our Slack channel going sale, 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 and all the sales are getting made by the AIs. And so they were freaking out. They were like, "Our job's on the line." I'm like, "Yeah, your job is on the line because you need to be able to outperform that, and we don't have to pay bonuses, we don't have to pay sick leave, and all that kind of stuff." So the face of business is changing in terms of sales, in terms of customer service. Customer service, 80% of our support tickets are now gone because of the AI that we've implemented. And now what's happening is all of our trust scores and happiness levels of our clients is gone through the roof. They're like, "This is amazing. I love Haley." Da, 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 da. I'm like, Okay, Haley's an AI, but all right, great."
That's great. Love it. It,
Sam,
it is it is giving a competitive advantage. Someone we're both familiar with, Ryan Dyers, talks about this often, right? He talks about he who can spend the most money to acquire a customer wins. And that's a very simple statement to sort of throw out there in context of, well, what does that actually mean? But when you sort of break down what does it mean to be able to spend more to get a customer, it also means that you're actually making more profit per customer because of operational efficiency, expertise in a particular area. We talked about niching just a moment ago, right? To say if you can niche in a particular thing and do the same thing over and over and over again, you get very, very good and very efficient at delivering that particular thing. And AI for businesses who are adopting it right now, finding effective, they've got that accelerated learning process. And I know you're doing that in your own for yourself. You're using AI to go teach me everything I need to know to be 80% of that particular subject, right? Your thesis would have been entirely different.
I could have finished my thesis in a day with the technology we have now.
That's right. Okay, would have been completely different. Do the research. Do this research. I need to learn 80% of this. Watch. Ask me the questions I need to know about this particular subject.
Do,
Right. It is a game changer. I want to throw this out to you and get your perspective on it though. Is AI making us dumber?
well, this is a question that goes back to 1996 when we got access to the internet, right? There was uproar that everyone's going to cheat and everyone's going to just go Google stuff and everyone's going to have, we're going to get dumber because everybody's just going
Oh,
to
Yahoo, we're bombarded in Alta Vista back then, right?
copy. But the thing is, all right, if you give me a hammer and you tell me to go build something, you have a hammer, I have a hammer. We're gonna build two completely different things. The thing that I build is gonna kill me because I don't know how to use a hammer, right? And this is not even a joke. I had to hammer a nail into the thing. I couldn't hammer a nail in, so I had to hire someone to do it. Sorry, it's my generation, whatever. But you give me a computer and I'm dangerous, right? So if you give me technology and there's some other guy who does hammering for a living, I might be better than him. because this is what I do all day long. My skill set, my reference points, my foundations allow me to leverage it quicker. Yes, anyone can go to AI now and say, write me a book, but the questions that you ask it to write you a book on, for example, create a video, if they don't have that foundational references in their head, they cannot even ask that. So you have to learn. You have to be smart in order to be able to use it smartly.
Mm. So making smart people smarter and dumb people dumber since 2023.
Well, no, that's it's not even that. It's people entertain themselves, right? And
Yeah.
so it's the whole everybody has the same tool. And if they want to go watch cat videos, great. No one can judge anybody's life.
Yeah.
I have a very limited time on this planet, and I want to make use and maximize it as much as I can for my family, for my legacy, for my kids, etc. And dude, I'm so excited to be alive every day that this technology is it's so much fun.
It is very cool. It is very cool. And I know you're using it extensively in your business. You mentioned a Haley before. A Haley is an AI that you use in your business over at White Label Suite. I'm a client of yours as well. Talk to me about your process or some of the ways that you're creating leverage in acquisition, conversion, retention of clients.
Yeah, for sure. So acquisition of clients, let's start there. It's usually the hardest thing. Anyone who's been in
No one
business.
likes prospecting, right? Because no one likes being told no. It goes back to the old door knocking days, right? It's like back when you had to sort of knock on doors selling
Yep,
vacuum cleaners.
yep,
Not that I've
exactly.
ever done that, but I watched my son do it one day with little rubber band bracelets.
So prospecting is hard, prospecting is expensive because you're either paying for prospecting with your time, knocking on the doors or networking meetings or whatever it is, going out there and meeting the right people or introductions, or money, which is advertising and getting the right people. Now both have their pros and cons. And so with technology, I can get my best salesperson in front of my ideal client and get them converted way easier and on mass and on scale because you're the best salesperson in your company, right? 2-minute video on a device. We all have access to these phones. They're all 4K now. Just record the video, find out using software like ours exactly who that person is who you want to talk to. Send them that video, and then they just go, "Wow, this is amazing. I feel a real connection." Now, on the video part, when I told the story, one of our clients went and spent $20,000 to get a full production, beautiful video done and everything. His conversions were absolutely abysmal. Why? Because it looked like a sales video. It looked too professional. When you do a video that's just a selfie style video, they convert way more. Why? Because the human brain wants connection, wants a real person. And if something seems too professional, then they know that a pitch is coming and that you get a lens coming up. That's why on social media, when we're doom scrolling, we're just watching other people, right? So anyway, so client acquisition can be done really easily and on scale with AI because now you can record
So
the video.
that video, is that personalized to each client you talk to? Because that seems like more work, or is it a generic video that is built into a sequence that gets sent?
It's a generic video, but it seems like it's personalized because you're
Okay.
talking
I'm
to
asking this as a rhetorical question
yeah,
because I know
yeah, yeah. No.
anyway, but right. So what effectively we're doing is we're using AI to go and do
Identify the right people.
identify prospects at scale, right? And that's exactly the same process that you should be doing anyway, using tools like LinkedIn and Google Search, even walking down to your local supermarket or strip mall and going, there are 10 businesses here, I'm going to go knock on their doors. Effectively, the AI is doing that en masse using what information people put out there into the internet about themselves. And
Yep,
it's saying, find me the owner of ABC Laundromat,
yep,
find their details, da da da. The AI is now doing that on scale. Now, second step is that then being passed into an automation system inside your CRM with all the data it's collected. And then it's building a pre-built sequence which does outreach across, presumably, I know the answer, so I'll answer it for you. Text, email, voice
yep.
call, social media connection if necessary.
Mm,
And one of my favorites ones in that process is also putting in some kind of lumpy mail,
yes.
right?
Yeah,
Which of
yeah,
course you
yeah.
can do. You could send it off to your
Yep,
supplier or your favorite sort of shop to handwrite a card or send a gift or something.
yep. Yeah,
That,
I
okay, so
love
you got your video in there as well. And that's then bringing people to go, oh, I'm now aware of who you are. Ticks the awareness in the marketing box,
yep,
consideration. right? Then we get to a decision point when they're now sitting in front of you to say, tell me more about the thing that you're doing.
Exactly.
Does it work? Okay, my question here is then, does this kind of approach work for every industry type?
No. The reason being, you got to take into consideration the medium, right? The medium that people are getting information from. For example, one of our clients targets tradies. Tradies are notoriously busy. They don't care much for technology. So, yeah, they're getting emails. They're not replying. People are sending them messages via their website. They're not replying. You're calling them. They're not replying. They're on site. They're doing their thing. So, does it work for everyone? No. It's lower for tradies, for example. That's a generalization. If you're a tradie listening to this, I'm not saying it's you. I'm just saying in general in the industry. But it has to be, you got to think about the client journey for that business. So if you give me business examples, I can walk you through each one of those. But if you, for a tradesperson, their phone rings, they've got SMSs. SMS actually works best for tradies. Hey, I've got this thing. Do you want to, when can you come? And they'll just message you and say, I can be here, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Their method of communication is text message, not phone calls, not emails, not social media.
Mm. Yeah. Okay. So it doesn't work for tradies, and presumably it might work differently for different people in industries,
So
to how they're connecting with their customers.
one of my favorites is I've found CEOs of high net worth companies. We're talking companies that are 10 million plus. If the CEO is above the age of 45, the CEO replies to you without a doubt every time because they grew up in an era where they were the ones replying to the emails. They believe in inbox zero and clearing it out and getting it done. So when they get an email, they have to quickly make a decision and go, yes, no, maybe, whatever it is, and send it out, right? So I target high net worth CEOs. And every time it's them replying back. And I know it's them because the way they write. When an EA writes back, they put all the niceties and everything in there. Whereas if you're talking to the decision maker, it's like, yes, no, maybe, all right, cool, send me the details.